Hey guys, welcome to this Monday morning vlog for the 8th of November of 2021. Yeah, it's early, you can probably tell because I just woke up a little while ago. It's about 7:06 in the morning Pacific time, and it's about 41 degrees. As you can tell, it's about 41 degrees. And, I'll tell you, this has been an interesting weekend, to say the least. I mean, I'll put it to you like this. This past Friday, one of the things I like to do before my mom gets home is I like to wash the dishes. Kind of, take care of one less thing so she doesn't have to take care of it. Well, what happened is her cup here, I was handling it like right here, just holding it, like I usually do, very gently. And next thing I know, this cup here all of a sudden breaks. Or at least the handle breaks off. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I didn't do nothing wrong here. I was washing the way I normally do, and it just broke off. Well, to say my mom wasn't happy would be, another statement. She thought I had dropped it. She thought I did it on purpose, stuff like that. I prayed to God, gave it to God. I told her straight up too, look, I didn't do it that way. You know me. And she was also tired. So, when you're tired, you take things the wrong way. But anyway, she had to use Gorilla Glue to put it together. I'll put it back together and let it set. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, all I was doing was just, handling it like this. Just, very gently, and it broke. The one thing that I think me and my mom did agree upon is, it might have already had a crack. And I told her, from what I've noticed before, it had a crack right about here. It had a crack right about this area. And basically, that's what caused it to break. So by that extension, she kind of understood, and thank the Lord, she did, that I didn't do it on purpose. So that was interesting. So that was the start to an interesting weekend. And then I find out that my bank notifies me. They notify me. And they tell me that somebody had fraudulated my account. In other words, they informed me that somebody in Columbus, Ohio, tried to use my account to get something. Thankfully, it wasn't much they tried to use, and my bank caught it just in time. Because, nowadays banks, especially bigger banks, nationwide banks, I should say, thankfully, they have this system in place where they can catch the fraud before it happens. And they notified me. They notified me that something had happened and they had declined it. And that I should call them just in case. And I did. And I told the person, they said they did tell me that they did catch it. I told them I don't want to change anything, because usually they might suggest getting a new card or anything, but I didn't want to do that, because if they are able to catch it, my bank is able to catch it, and that's fine with me. Anyway, like I said, they declined it, they fixed it, and they're going to look into it. Now, apparently, I'm not the only one that's dealt with this. I'm not the only one that's dealt with this because of the fact that, others throughout the year have dealt with it. And not just people that have the same bank I do, but others that have different banks. People that have banks like Chase, Vero, if you will, and several others. all located in the same area. Now, I, shop online, there's no doubt, but, I've never had a problem up till now. And the more I thought about it, I'm wondering if it had anything to do. If it had anything to do with either me getting the Rainbow Dash goblet or the Hey There Yogi Bear DVD. Because the Hey There Yogi Bear DVD I got from Colorado Springs Goodwill. So that shouldn't have been a problem. The other one came from North Las Vegas, Nevada, or at least in that area. Well, at least that's what it was, noted. That's what it was noted from coming from, address wise. So I don't know if it could have been one of those or something else. I do honestly. I have used eBay in the past, but that was with my B of A EDD card, and my B of A EDD card, never once have I had an issue on that either. Of course, EDD hopefully would have caught that too, or B of A would have caught that. The point is something just was, weird about the situation. Like, well, if something like that, was to happen, you'd think it would have, even though it's wrong, and thank God, like I said, my bank caught it, you think it would have been something that would have been done sooner, but it wasn't. My assumption, and one person that I looked this up, because I went to a site called, I Googled, basically if anybody else dealt with this, and I went, and I found a site called Whose Charge Is This, right? Because I put in the place that was trying to scam me out of money, or trying to fraud me out of money, right? So I go to this place, I go to this website because I put in the information about this place that was trying to fraud me. And like I said, Ed, earlier, that's when I saw all these other people that had dealt with something similar. And it's all because apparently people, I hate to say this about our species overall, but people are scumbags sometimes. I mean, seriously, you want to take money out of people's pockets, if you will, all because you want to go out and buy something that basically you don't have the money to do, but yet you want it. It's so wrong. And again, thankfully, banks are now come equipped with detecting, hopefully, a lot of this before it goes down. It was just a shock to me, is what it was. It was just a shock. And like I said, other people have dealt with this too, because they're all wondering, what is this place in Ohio? Who's charging my account for this and that? Everybody was confused. Because they didn't know how this was happening and everything, but thankfully, just like my bank, the banks caught it. But yeah, like I said, I had to talk to somebody. They said they're gonna look into it because they already noticed that it was caught, and that's what they did. And what's funny is, when I checked the email, because they sent me an email, the email basically stated of where it was, and I was thinking, wait a minute, that's kind of weird. Because I know sometimes I might overdraft, when it comes to like paying bills automatically. But it's like, one, you would think, you would think that this person would give up what I'm trying to say is you would think, it's early, I do apologize. But you would think perhaps this person trying to attempt this would notice it's not going to go through, even if they tried it at an ATM or their version of the card at an ATM. You think they realize it's not going to go through, it's not going to do anything for them. And obviously it didn't. Obviously they didn't do that, and instead they thought, hey, I'm going to take up my make-believe card and I'm going to use it to get what I want, and it declined them. It's just one of those, again, it was just a surprise, because like I said, I was checking my email and it told me where it was, and I'm thinking, I've never shopped there because I don't live out there. I have a cousin that lives in the Cincinnati region, but not the Columbus region. So it's like, I've never been there. And it just blew my mind. Just blew my mind that when they notified me what it was about and how. And again, like I said, thankfully they caught it when they did. And again, I was like, that is so wrong of them to do. That's so wrong of them to do. Anyway, like I said, thank God they caught it. And what's funny is, I'm just the latest person in my family that's had this situation happen. My mom, about a couple years back, had the same thing happen to her. She went to, from what she is able to tell me, that the way this happened was she went to I guess they call it Mr. Pickle or something like that. The fast food, it's kind of like a Subway like restaurant, or Subway take and go, or fast food, whatever you want to call it. It's basically like a Subway restaurant, okay? And she went here, and after she went there, even though she didn't, and was kind of, I guess you could say, not too favorable about the service. After she used her card there, which I guess she was getting something to eat or something like that. That's when later on she noticed she was getting a charge for $100 something in Sunnyvale, California. And thankfully her bank caught it too. Because they're like, wait a minute, how is she here spending the money at this time? What's crazy, this fraud that she went through only took place a couple of hours later. And the bank was able to, I guess, like I said, her bank was able to catch it too, because they're thinking, wait a minute, how is she, my elbow just to the wall there. They're like, how is she able to do this and then only a few hours later go to Sunnyvale, which is way down there, and do that? It didn't make sense to them. So they were able to catch it and reimbursed her. But yeah, it's just so scummy and, low down of people that, they're so desperate for money. They're so desperate that they're willing to do whatever they have to get what they want, even if it means using somebody else's cards or using somebody else's accounts. It's so scummy of them. It's so scummy and low down of them to do, because, there's an old saying, because we found this out yesterday: go out and get a job. Is that so hard to do? I'm just saying. Because my second oldest nephew, got a job, believe it or not, at the same place I used to work, and that's Walmart. Hopefully he'll be more committed to doing it. What I'm trying to say is, hopefully he'll be committed to doing it on a daily basis, because what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to get off work. Well, not get off work, but he's got to get out of school, go home, get his, vest, if you will. He's got to get his vest, and he's got to go from there. That's what he's got to do. He's got orientation today, so thankfully what I'm trying to say is, he's got orientation today, so hopefully he'll get an idea of what he's going to be in store for. That's the thing. And me, later on when I wake up a little bit more, get myself ready. If there's any left, I'm going to head down to Yancey's, try to fill out an application there, go online, try to finish some here. Because I'm getting to a point that, I'm going to need some work soon. I'm going to need some work. But, speaking of my nephew, like I said, so as I was mentioning, Saturday was just, that was a surprise in its own right. Well, but Saturday, but Friday was kind of a surprise in its own right because, like I said, not only did my mom have to fix her cup with the Gorilla Glue, but then I find that out about my card, and it's like, oh, what a way to start the weekend, right? And then yesterday, not yesterday, but Saturday, we just spent most of the day relaxing. My mom was doing her thing and all that. But then my dog decides, and it was my fault, if you will. My dog, who's sleeping right now, decided, and it was my fault, to give me a nice surprise in the morning. She ended up pooping. Now, I'm not saying she wouldn't have done that if I wasn't here and if I was working. I'm not saying she wouldn't have done that even if, my door was open, or if I would have let her out when I should have. But yeah, she gave me a nice surprise in the morning because, she had to go. And again, it was my fault. I should have let her out when I did, but I didn't. And, that's on me. So she ended up giving me a nice surprise, which my mom had to end up cleaning up. I mean, she wasn't happy about that. But then again, I've noticed that on Saturdays, my mom, even though she gets a little rest, she doesn't totally rest, if you know what I mean. She doesn't totally rest. And what I mean by not totally rest, is she doesn't just, get up, come over here to the couch, if you will. She doesn't go over there, and just basically wake herself up a little bit, get some coffee, read her Bible and stuff, and then after that, just, enjoys the day. No, she always constantly has to go. Well, I wouldn't say constantly, because sometimes she'll be sitting like this on the couch, still in her pajamas and everything, and then maybe about 1 or a little afterwards, she'll get up, go to her room, get changed, go to her bathroom, and come over here to the kitchen, put her face on just in case, and then, probably do her laundry, and then after that, she'll probably, start doing some other things. And even though it's, what she would say, the kind of stuff that makes her happy, makes her relaxed and all that, it's not really relaxing. She constantly has to keep doing something. And I mentioned this to her one time, I think it was yesterday when we were getting ready to go to church. And I said, that she was basically acting very similar to somebody. And she's like, yeah, I know. And she knew what I was going to say. She said, yeah, I know. I'm my mother's daughter. And she kind of said it to me in a way like, it wasn't, happiness that she was like, she was her mother's daughter or anything. But it's that expression of like, when people tell you you're going to become just like your father, or you're going to be just like your mother and all that, and you like to deny it. She kind of told me that in a way where she was kind of admitting it, like it was it was like I wouldn't say a disappointment, a disappointing admittment, but it was more like like realization of, oh yeah, my mother's daughter. Like she's realizing, or she's coming to the realization that she is basically like my grandma, because my grandma, even after my grandpa passed, you think as she got older, she would relax her body. She wouldn't keep going and going and going. But she kept going, and she kept going, and she kept going. It's like, I get as you get older, you want to keep going because you feel if you don't, it won't keep you active or anything. You'll end up basically, just slowing down and being lazy and not wanting to do anything. And that's not necessarily true. You can keep going on the days that you want to keep going, but there are times where basically, you should just, take a day to yourself and relax, not do anything. Just enjoy movies, whatever, and that's it. But again, a mom basically, I guess an admittance of realization and kind of like, a little bit of disappointment, but not much. She realized that she had become just like her mom. Because she has to keep constantly going instead of being like, you know what? It's Saturday. I know I usually like to do stuff on this day, but today I'm just going to relax. I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to relax and not do anything. And, if she would do that, that'd be perfect. That'd be absolutely perfect. But she doesn't. She doesn't. So she just keeps going and she keeps going and she keeps going. And again, like I said, it's not a bad thing if people want to keep doing that because they feel, hey, that's the best way, we can keep ourselves active. That's fine. More power to you. More power to you. But it's like, you gotta know when and where. You gotta know, like I said, you gotta know when and where to settle down and be, and be just yourself. And just take the day to yourself. And hopefully this Thursday she'll do that because this Thursday she's off. And it's not a day she requested or anything. This Thursday's Veterans Day, so the school decides that instead of giving them a 4-day weekend like they're going to get in a couple weeks anyway, they decide, we'll just give you Thursday off and then you come back Friday. It's like, what sense does that make? It doesn't make any. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any. So, with that said, after yesterday, and I could tell she was still tired because even though she didn't like having to clean the poop or anything like that, I could tell she was still tired because, like I said, I've noticed sometimes on Saturdays when she keeps herself going that she tires herself out even more, and that she's like constantly going, and I'm like, and I started noticing a little bit of that. I guess you could say, and it's a realization for a lot of us, I guess you could say a little bit of that crabbiness sneaking in. Because, I'm thinking, wait a minute, you rested, you should be fine, even though you're doing things, right? But no, she's still very tired. And that's why a lot of us, me and my sisters, always think, she either should start considering retirement or consider just slowing down. Just like if you're going to work, don't work as much. Like go part-time or go every other day or something like that. Just slow down. But she doesn't do that. She just keeps constantly going and going and going. Anyway, with that said, like I said, she keeps constantly going and going. The rest of the night was all right. It was okay. There's no doubt about that. And then yesterday, like I said, we got up for church. We left a little early, even though we were late by a few minutes. They had just finished up the last song before doing communion. And what we did is, because they're working in conjunction with the Gathering Church in Patterson, our church just, is asking us to bring in one item of food each week for that week. So we decided, okay, what can we get? And because I have EBT now, thank the Lord, I ended up getting some jelly. One strawberry, one apricot, because I know she likes apricot, my mom. I ended up getting one jelly, one strawberry jam, apricot jam for me and her, and an additional apricot jam for the church, because what they do is they donate, is like I said, they're working in conjunction with this church to help donate food to those in need, because apparently the food pantry shut down due to the pandemic. I mean, it's not totally shut down, but it's just not in a position where it used to be, where it could be open all the time on the days it usually is. So, we did that. And then afterwards, And then afterwards, like I said, we went to church. And then after that, went to Starbucks, got myself a peppermint mocha. She got herself a white chocolate. And then we got my second oldest nephew a dragon coconut drink. And then after that, went to my older sisters for the day. Just spent time there and everything. And my assumption, and I love spending time with my family, don't get me wrong. But my assumption is, okay, we'll go there, we'll have some brunch, because that's what she was making. She's like, oh yeah, just come on down. I'm making some brunch now. I'm making some brunch. Come on down, get some stuff here. Because we were thinking, okay, McDonald's, whatever. And my mom usually likes to buy, a drink or so or something to snack on from Starbucks for them to take to them, right? So anyway, long story short, to get to the point, we went to my older sister's. She was making eggs and potato, basically brunch and all that. So we ate there. And then we watched the 49er game. Unfortunately, they lost. And after that, we stayed for a little longer. We watched. I basically, because I was feeling tired, I went into the guest room and took a nap in there for a little bit. Even though, I shouldn't have done that, but I was still tired. I just wanted to rest, and they didn't have a problem with that whatsoever, because there have been times. I'll be honest with you. There have been times where we'll go to their house. Or if we have anything at our houses, one of them, either in Patterson, where we used to live, or now here, or there will be times we'll go to my second older sister's, like we're going for Thanksgiving, and basically somebody, will, end up resting during that time. Like somebody will go into one of the rooms, mainly the guest room, and they will rest. That's what they would do. I know my second oldest nephew did that. I know my brother-in-law, my second oldest sister's husband, at times does that. And sometimes he just does that because he wants to rest, because he's been going all day, or he just always got to work the next day, so he does that. And what else? I know they've done it here. So they've done it a couple of times, where even my older sister's husband, sometimes when, we go somewhere, he might lean back and fall asleep, because, we're there for too long, or we just didn't get that much rest. And I had plenty of rest. I think my body was just, tired. I think it was because when I get relaxed, I get tired and I fall asleep. So I think that's what it was, that my body was getting relaxed and I was just falling asleep, if you will. It's something we all commonly do. Anyway, I rested for a bit, and that was okay. Again, like I said, they didn't mind it. And then afterwards, we had some dinner because she made some steaks and, along with some vegetables. And after that, well, not after that, but during that, we were watching National Lampoons because the game was over, and they were watching. What were they watching? They were watching something. I can't think of it right now. It was some kind of movie. It was Elf. It was Elf. Because HBO Max right now, like a lot of places, is starting to put Christmas movies on. So they ended up watching Elf. My mom put on Elf, I think. Which, is a good movie, don't get me wrong. And me, I'm alright with it. It's just not my cup of tea at times. I mean, even though everybody considers one of Will Ferrell's best, it isn't my cup of tea. But, so I rested. I just took that time to rest a little bit. What I do is I set the alarm here for about 30 minutes. And if I still feel like I need to rest more, I will. And that's what I do. And then, after that, like I said, got up, had dinner, watched National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. My mom helped clean up a little bit and everything. And, my sister was doing her normal thing, trying to clean things up and everything, to make things look nice. And after that, we came home, and that was about it. And then my second oldest sister decided to call. She called on, my on our older sister's phone when we were there. Then she called us on my mom's phone and then my phone, which I finally did answer at my mom's suggestion or request. And then come home, she calls again, moments before my mom opens the door after she's getting out of the shower and everything. And then my mom calls her back later on, or just moments after that. So, yeah, it was quite the weekend. I'll tell you like that. It's like one of those weekends where honestly, you're heading into the holiday season. Like I've always said, in my opinion, that when you go around, that starting with October, Halloween, mainly starting with Halloween or afterwards, like I've said before, that to me is always the start of the pre-holiday season. That's what it is. It's the start of the pre-holiday season because you start noticing a lot more you start seeing a lot more Christmas coming out. You start hearing Christmas music play either 24/7 or once in a while. And also the fact that, you have moments like, this weekend for me. You have moments like this weekend for me and my family. So you kind of get that idea. And also I think the reason I was tired too is mainly the time change. I mean, yeah, we got an hour back. Don't get me wrong, we got an hour back, but it's like, seriously, it's one of those situations that just, blows my mind when you really think about it. It just blows my mind that it's unusual at times. That you kind of get tired when you end up getting an hour back, or even losing an hour, because it's like, okay, losing an hour I can understand. Like, okay, here, like right now it's 7:38 or 7:30, yeah, 7:38, and you basically, when you fall back an hour. So instead of going from, let's say, 1 to 2, it stays at 1, and that's it, right? It stays at 1. Or usually, and that's when you fall back. Or when you spring forward, you usually, instead of going 1 to 2, it'll go 1 to 3. It'll be like, okay, there's that lost hour. And you don't like it. Nobody likes it. And it throws you off. But after a while, you get used to it, because when you fall back and you regain that hour, you can stay up a little later if you want to. And that you end up getting up either a little earlier than you planned, because of the fact that you regain that hour, so you're getting that extra rest. But because you got that extra rest, now you can get up and try to enjoy most of the day, especially when you start noticing the sun coming up a lot earlier than normal, if you catch my drift. It starts coming up a lot earlier than normal. But then, like I said, the spring forward one really, again, it's one of those situations where it throws you off, but then you get used to it, you're fine. But yeah, in addition with that, which I think kind of threw me off a little bit too, made me tired and all that, it was just one of those weekends, like I said, where you're at that pre-start of the holiday season. And you definitely know you're entering one of those weeks where basically, if somebody has one of the days off, before, not before, but if they have a day off before the actual 4-day weekend, which is Thanksgiving, you could definitely tell that, times are changing for that season, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's really all that's been going on this weekend, like I said. One of those unusual weekends, and that's all I can really say. So, thank you all for watching. I know it's early. I do apologize. It's about 7:40 now as I get ready to wrap this up. Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. Like the video. Hopefully you've commented during the live chat, during the video. Really appreciate if you did there. Also, check me out at Teespring if you want something for the if you want to look into something for the holiday season. Also, check me out at BW Rose's Discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations. except for Pandora. Also check me out at Venmo at BW Roses. Also check me out at Patreon at BW Roses for a $1, $3 tier. And also check me out at also check me out at Venmo, at my Venmo account if you want to help donate to the channel and the brand there. But until next time, guys, let me know what your thoughts are, and I'm out.